Hola amigos de En Línea, Mateo aquí y tiempo para más ejercicio de compañera. Mi compañera es Andrea. Here is a squat partner micro workout, micro session that you and a friend or a partner can bust out. And the way you would progress this is you start with, say, 5 or 10 reps. And you shouldn't do this if you can't do at least 5 reps squatting each other. And I will be squatting Andrea, but just like in all of my videos, the scenery is gorgeous. But no, and just like all of the workouts, both partners, regardless of their task or duty, they're both working hard. So Andrea will vouch for that. Being my barbell is very challenging in and of itself, even though I'm the one squatting. And look what's about to fall on my head, a whole gaggle of bananas here. So I'm going to show you what would be week 1. Let's say you're doing week 1 and you're doing a 5 rep set, just one set of 5 of these squats. Week 2, you would add 5 reps, or that's the goal. And you might not be able to do, once you get to 15, 20, 25 reps, you may not be able to do them all in one set, but just make sure every week you're accumulating your volume, which is 5 plus 5 reps compared to the week prior. So I will show you 4 or 5 different variations, different ways that you can squat your partner. And you could even consider this a long-term program. You might do level 1 squat variation for 6 weeks, adding 5 every week, which is what I recommend, 6-week intervals. Then you might try variation number 2, which is, in my opinion, a little harder, and so on and so forth, up to variation 4 or 5 if I've got it in me today. I'm a little gassed, but I'll pretend it's week 1, and I'm doing 5 repetitions with Andrea as my barbell. So come on up here. The first variation, I'll just go ahead and run through these for a sec. Variation 1 is a hip squat where Andrea's piggybacking on me and I'm squatting her and her weight is loaded on my hips. That takes out the spinal load. Pretty easy way to squat someone. Variation number 2 is a bear hug squat where she's in front of me. It's like a sandbag squat and I'm holding on to her. She's in front of me as I squat, keeping her very close to my center of mass. Which is one of the reasons why both of those are some of the easiest variations. Variation 3 will be a cradle squat, or it will be like a Zercher squat. So we go from this to this, which is more arms, more thoracic extension, and squatting those elbows down to your thighs. Variation 4 would be a back squat where she's coming up high and I have to balance her. A little more core work, just like a barbell. She's behind on my traps. And since she's further away from my center of mass, it's more demanding on me to stabilize and balance and the core recruitment and everything. And last but not least, for today, variation 5 will be a front squat. So I'll save the hardest for last. Hopefully I'll be good and warmed up by then. And that's where we take, just like a barbell up on your front rack position. The difference between that and the third variation, the Zercher squat, is that instead of holding down here, now we're holding up here in a high rack position, which again, further from the center of mass, makes it harder to control and stabilize. So I'll do 5 reps of each, and I'll try to give you a good example. Example 1, the hip squat. Just gonna hop right on my back. Just like we're playing piggyback. It's like any old day. And you want your partner to try to keep their legs out of the way, and she needs to breathe with me, grip with me, embrace and engage with me. I'm gonna give it a bit of a pause at the bottom. You can see that her mass is right above my hips, which is what makes this the easiest variation. I'm taking a bit of a wide stance. Show you here. Pretty wide stance. Very hip dominant. Very hinge dominant. Sitting back, trying to hit parallel with the thighs. Thrust. It's a lot of alright, hop down. It's very hip, horizontal, hinge-based movement. Take just a few recovery breaths. And next we'll be going into the bear hug squat where she's in front of me. Keep in mind, since she's in front of me, it does kind of hinder the range of motion potentially, but you just go as deep as you can or as deep as you're able to. Alright, so now she's going to do the same thing she did from the front. See, bear hug, coming down, shorts. Taking a slightly narrower stance this time. Another angle. And I can tell you, this gets much harder if she starts to slide down. So like I said, she is working with me to stay put. All right. I added a little bit of a pause at the bottom each time just to give it a little something more. A few recovery breaths. Whew. Variation number 3. Zercher squats. Cradle squats. All right, up on up. Here, her hips are going right down in between my thighs. And like with any Zercher squat, I really like to pause Zercher squats because they allow you to get good and deep. Zercher squats add in the arms quite a bit. Delts, biceps, forearms to hold your weight in front of you. It's like an isometric bicep curl. I'm gonna use this. All right, we'll be paying for those pauses in the next variations. A few recovery breaths. All right, next variation is a back squat. The most commonly thought of type of squat. Weights on your back. So Andrea is now my barbell. You want to be careful getting your partner up and on. You get used to how to finagle them up, find your sweet spot. Again, you're working together to figure that out because it's not comfortable for either party for many, many times, but practice is a great thing. So we kind of sometimes have our groove down. All right, ready? All right, almost smashed her head into a concrete wall, and here we go. Pause these as well. And having her top loaded like this, I can instantly feel the higher demand on my obliques to stabilize, my thoracic spine to stay extended. Get your partner down nice and easy. And there's a reason that 4 and 5 or even 3 are a little more advanced, because there's a little more getting used to how to actually properly and safely load and unload the weight. That's part of the exercise when you're working with a partner, is how do you even get where you need to be to execute the exercise. All right, last up, front squats. Andrea's gonna face me. I'm gonna scoop her up and use my legs to immediately rack her up high like a barbell front squat. Shades up for a sec. No pause here. These are hard enough for today. All right. So there you have it. 5 ways to get into week 1 with your partner squat micro session. You might say, wow, 5 reps of squats is not a very much of a workout. You might have some other stuff planned for the day, but also it is all of the squat stimulus you will need to implement a micro session program like this. Because by the time you get to week 6, you're at 30 squats with your partner. And the objective is to do them all in one set. But if you fail at that, that's fine. Pick them back up after a few recovery breaths and rack them up and get your reps in. So accumulate the reps with little rest pauses in the set. That's plan B. But remember, with 5 variations, 6 weeks apiece, that could be a 30-week program, squat program, easily. So give it a try, ask questions. Thank you. Thanks, Andrea.